It's one of those things, fortunately.
So, microphone check 1 2. Go ahead, JuJu.
What is this? Right. So, welcome to another episode of the High Creativity Podcast. You're now locked into the one and only J Uncle JuJu St. Paul. And who do I have with me today?
We have Ish. That's all you're getting from me.
You got C-Stats.
Death Mass.
Glad to be here. Blessings.
That's my man. I ain't seen Stat in a minute, bro. I've never seen Stat.
Nope.
Yeah. I think we did. Right. We just did the audio last time, but yeah, this is Death Mass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. California representing. I'm out in Vegas though right now.
And I'm
facts.
Nice
to meet you, bro.
I'm still jealous that you guys are on the hook on that intro, and I'm not in it. That's in it.
Chronicles of the hip hop legend.
I'm the dude that set it up. It's not
made the plug and everything.
Hip hop legend radio show. Let's get this on the table. Why?
And we're off to an explosive start, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see.
Look. I'm just the man that ends up there. You just tell me where to be, I'll be there. I ain't know what. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want none of this. I want none of this drama. Like real talk. No more drama in my life. Like for real. Like I'm done.
I don't know what the hell was on my mind, bro. Like I was trying to fit everybody's name in like it was one bar. I was just like, what? I fucked up and missed the most important name. I was like, God damn it, dude.
Do you know I partially put that to blame for Ish anyways, because he's always like, oh, that's Ish. That's all you're getting, innit? I'm just that man in the background. So there you are, you're furthermore in the background. So you won. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, no, you're right. I appreciate that.
I was like, if I don't drop J. St. Paul, this nigga's not gonna play my shit, bro. So I gotta drop J. St. Paul.
So I like the way he's thinking. Little does he know, I still would support so also, ladies and gentlemen, just so that we're all clear, this is Death Mass. This is the guy who's provided the last two intros for the No Name podcast and also what I've selected for this one, which is Anniversary. Thanks just very much, man. The beats are excessively dope, and thanks for letting us use that as the intro as well. And you know, I'm going to support you. Oh yeah, what I was going to say to you is when you get a chance, send over your MP3s that you want to be played, and I'll put you onto the internet radio show that I'm doing at the moment with Loud Bass One, because I just like, you know, supporting people and supporting the young songs, to be honest with you. So yeah, man. But well, in fact, how's everyone doing? Let's start with that, and then
let's give Death his flowers and his soup while he's with us, man, because it's a point. Because when I first heard Death, I thought he was from New York. For real. I'm like, this dude got bars. Is he from New York? And to find out that he was from Cali, I'm like, yo, we got to have this brother on. And again, thank you for doing that dope intro for Chronicle. To me, that's the best intro of any podcast in the ever made.
I play this shit
back. Podcast. This is the best. That was the best intro ever.
I used to bump the intro just to bump the intro, bro. And it was on a playlist. This shit would just come in after like a Nas song or something. And, you know what I mean? I really enjoyed the beat, and then just being able to support your guys' movement, because you guys had a lot of legendary interviews. Chronicles of Hip Hop Legend is ironically legendary. But you had a great vision there, and it would be nice to keep that circulating, all that content, you know, and not let it fizzle off just because it was a past thing. You know, got to keep the content circulating, you know. Yeah. But everything was really solid, man. It was a really good run, seriously.
And then real fast, I want to give a shout out to Tall Black Production for the beats, because that was made. That beat was made by Tall Black Production. So shout out to Tall Black Production.
Not Tall Black Guy.
Tall Black Guy. Tall Black Guy. My bad.
Okay, yeah, let's get this right first. So,
are you fucking serious? That was fucking Tall Black Guy, bro.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah, bro. Tall Black Guy, dope, bro.
Holy
we did it.
Well, I'm obviously missing his skit because I see Defil Giddy and I'm like, okay, maybe I might have heard of his work other than
he's
the Chronicles.
One of my favorite producers of right now. Like, yeah, he's got a new joint. Shout out to All Black Guy. It's called Black Is You, and it's got Black Is Us. You know what I mean? It's a tight instrumental. He does these instrumental pieces that like shine light on shit. You know what I'm saying? Not only does it have like nostalgia or whatnot, but he does these thematic instrumentals. So it's not like you're just hearing a beat just to hear a beat. It's got like a message behind it, and it may not be a whole verse or something, but like on this was like Black Is You, Black Is Us. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like thematic, you know. And I really like that because for producers, it's hard to get your bass because you don't have a vocalist all the time. You got to wait for somebody to drop a verse or whatever the case may be. But he just takes it a step further. He's like, nah, man, it don't have to be that complicated because my beats bang enough, you know. So I shout out to All Black Guy. Anyways, yeah, thank you for that. That's crazy. That's 6 degrees separation, bro. That's crazy.
For real, like, yeah.
Well, you might have told me.
This is it.
Yeah, you told me.
This is what he does.
Holy fuck.
Playing the background.
I was going to say that, yo, man. I just got to give flowers to all of y'all, man. That, you know, to you, man. You know me, to Tall Black Guy, everybody, because you guys are like, to me, it's like purveyors of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like right now,
torchbearers.
You know, right now, it's a lot of stuff going on. So you know, when I listen to certain things and you can actually like feel it and see it. Like to me, like when you hear certain sounds, it takes you somewhere. Like you see certain things. When you hear certain words, it takes you somewhere. You know what I mean? And when you pair the two together, it's like yo. Sometimes it just like blasts your mind out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still glad that. I mean, like you still have that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Certain producers have that feeling because you know what I mean. Like that's what keeps me here. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you know drives me all the time, man. Like I can't live without the music, bro. Like I can't do it. So shout out to you know what I mean for staying, you know, for being and keeping it going, bro. For real. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Thank you guys for supporting because without that shit, niggas couldn't keep it going. For real.
Thanks to everyone here as well. And for coming together and for coming together like this as well. So seriously, no, thank you all, and for everything you've produced as well, and the fact that you're giving the most valuable thing ever. All of you are your time. It's priceless. Yeah. Sorry, Ish.
Go on. No. Ain't no better time to spend it. Look, ain't no better time to spend it right now. Chilling, man. With y'all talking to me, doing what we do, man. But
Def, real fast before we go into like what we're gonna talk about like the stuff that you do in the community, especially being a teacher and working with the kids. Talk about that because you were doing that for a minute. You're still doing that too, right?
Yeah, well, right now I'm working with my man Terrence Berry with One Shine Youth, and that's based out of Compton, California. Basically, he's basically the organizer. You know what I'm saying? He's this, you know, if you want to call it the CEO. Him and his wife, Kelly Berry. They lead up dance, you know, for the inner city youth. They put their dance team and drum line on the America's Got Talent. So this last season, they went like semifinals, you know what I'm saying, America's Got Talent, you know, straight out of Compton, California, you know what I'm saying, from the dirt to the big screen, you know what I mean? And it's really encouraging to see kids grow like that. Now that's largely in part from, you know, their efforts and all the stuff that they contribute to their community. Being that I'm in Vegas, it's harder to do things remotely right now. But what I do provide the organization is the program directional guidance, you know what I'm saying, from the programs that I've done with them in the past. And so I kind of spearhead the music part of it, you know, getting kids tapped in with recording arts and getting them exposed to the different avenues of what it's like to be an independent artist, because obviously we're not shopping them deals. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get them to actually develop their own skills. So we'll take kids that do art, kids that shoot videos, kids that make beats, kids that sing, rap, write, whatever you do, you kids that engineer, and we kind of run it like a label. and get the kids to work for one another. And so we're building up their networking skills, we're building up their individual skills, we're building up their portfolios. That way I tell the kids, like, with music, you don't have to wait. This is when you say, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know what I mean? You don't have to wait to grow up to do this. You just have to be serious and dedicated enough to do it now. So that's kind of the message I drive with the kids. And we give them individual plans based off of what, like growth plans based off of what their interests are and stuff. So we've been doing this, man. I've been doing, I first started in San Pedro in 2001 and I was 18, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, we developed a program in San Pedro. It got sponsored by Mark Wahlberg. LeBron James came through, donated money to the studio. So they got a like $60,000 studio in San Pedro. And then I left there and then I came back because I got into some different line of work and came back. They put me in a different location, which is in Wilmington, California. And then I basically started that one from the ground up too. But then that shit got so popping, we were getting kids busting in from different regions like Carson and Long Beach, and like kids were like, "Def is back! Like we gotta go to that one. We want to go to that one." It had less funding. It had less funding and less equipment, but like we were literally just, you know what I mean, making something out of nothing. Like that's just because it's me, you know what I mean. But they can't replicate that anymore because it takes the person, it takes the vision, it takes the passion, it takes the, the drive to like make something out of nothing to make it happen, So I don't know. Shout out Boys and Girls Club, but y'all fucking up because, if you really wanted to help the community, you would invest in people that put their all in this shit, not just people that want to, you can pay them $10 an hour and they can press buttons. Like you need visionaries, you need people. So that's why I fuck with my man Terrence and One Shine community, because he understands the vision, and he understands like it's not really just about collecting a check. Really, it's not. You know what I mean? Niggas gotta eat, but
for real, cuz before we jump in, can you just drop the link and how people can support what you're doing and the whole squad is doing?
Yeah, go on the web. You can just type in the address. It's One Shine Youth, and if you Google One Shine Youth Compton, whatever, it'll pop up. And yeah, Compton's on the map, man, because of them. And they do so much for the community. I'm so blessed to have friends that are community minded like that. I think without people like that, like some of these kids will probably be your next super gangbanger or something, you know what I mean? Or like, or do some wild shit, but they give them tools and outlets. So, and anyone that supports, thank you for your support on that.
And it takes a village, just like I said, it takes a village completely.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing you're doing, man. I salute you for that, bro. Facts.
For real.
Word up.
For real.
Yeah, it's not because the kids don't have a lot of outlets out here, bro, at all.
For real.
None. My kids don't even have those outlets, and I try to. I mean, I give them. My daughter sings. She got access to a full-blown studio at the crib, and she don't even use it. But I'm like, you don't even know what it took to acquire all this shit. Like, I remember trying to start music, and we recorded on like little karaoke machines and tape decks, and then I got lucky and got a 4-track recorder access, and that like if today that's laughable, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, kids don't really.
But that's exactly it. I mean, as long as they can do what they can do on their phone or what's kind of easy and accessible at the moment, it works. But once again, it's she'll figure. If she's serious about it, she'll figure it out, because it's also knowing how everything works and comes together. But it's like, what can you do, man? Like, for real talk, like, what can you do? But like I said at the beginning of it all,
it's a whole nother conversation. You gotta bring me on the dad show, bro. Bring me on the dad show. I got stories.
There you go. Yeah. So there you have Ish. Why are you bringing him on the dad show, Ish? Huh?
I will bring him on the dad show, and I'm gonna bring you on the dad show, Uncle.
Why?
You like that, Uncle?
I'm an uncle. I ain't a dad. Like, no, I'm leave that for the real fathers out here doing the real things. To be honest with you, but yeah. So like I said,
the only difference is it's not a tax write-off. You know,
Right.
you can't. You can't.
You said this
Well,
is not a tax write-off.
God
damn
at
it,
the end of the day, you feel that.
Yeah, maybe in a way, maybe because I do son some people, I schools them. I suppose we could put it like that metaphorically. But how is everybody though? Before we kick off, and thanks for that great introduction as well, Mass, and a little insight into your world.
For sure, man. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all take the wheel.
So yeah, how's everyone doing?
We're good, man. We're good, man. It's just kind of sad that from last night, hearing like the passing of Black Rob, man, that kind of hit hard because we lost DMX and now Black Rob, and it just put things in perspective, especially in the culture. You know what I mean? That if you hear his story, it's kind of tragic. That he was trying to raise money for medical bills. You know what I mean? It's just you would think you with all his connections he has that they would kind of come together and take care of the bills for him. And
the industry is an animal, bro. Industry is an animal, man. Bro. Niggas don't give a fuck about the artists, and that's proof. That's proof. You could make millions of dollars with somebody, and then like just because that contract is done, it's like, oh, hands is clean. Then you got your own problems, but that's
because you're seen as a product.
Yeah, and I think that. Go ahead.
Now, Master P, it was something that Master P had talked about.
The union.
He was saying that artists need a union. You know what I mean? And just like the NFL, just like the NBA, when these dudes retire, they get their benefits or whatever. But and a lot of dudes, I mean, I feel it, but at the same time, all those people that he knew, they weren't business partners. They were just people that he knew. You know what I'm saying? And and it's crazy because I was just saying that hip hop, like the culture itself, like one of the most traumatic things. Because I was like, yo, all the people that I grew up listening to is like gone, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even the recent dudes is gone. Like I heard there was a track with DMX and Pop Smoke. And I'm like, damn, both of them dudes is gone. You know what I mean? And that's past and the future. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, this is it's crazy. So I think something really has to be done to like hold, like protect, artists. You know what I'm saying? To have some type of fund where, yo, if you got your medical bills and you got something going on, there got to be somewhere you could dip into. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to do something. You know what I mean? But I didn't even know. Like it was crazy. I didn't even know what happened to him. I don't even know how he passed or anything.
Well, in the case of that, give me a sec, I'll just bring it up as well. But apparently he'd actually been suffering from seizures since 2015. It's just because once again, because he's not consistently, it's this problem with artists, and I suppose it's like because of the way the industry is built at the moment, the way it always is. If they're not always in your face or putting something out there that's controversial, you're not an existence on the planet. Most people will forget a large majority of Black Rob's tracks, except for the one that was always spun, which was Whoa. So then even when we go and tap into it, and then people then think, it's like, oh, but why is this impacting the community so much? Is because what people fail to understand is that we come, especially with the hip hop culture, is built off music. It's our relationship and our love for music and expression and being ourselves. So, and a lot of people that have actually got into music have only really ever got to music since the birth of the iPod. At that point, all of a sudden, now you're seeing everybody with these white headphones in. Beforehand, if you were really into music, you had a CD player, you had a mini disc, you had a cassette player. Yep. Like actually physically having to fast forward and rewind whilst you're on a go, and headphones, the whole kit and caboodle. You had to really be into music if that's the way that you were going about your business. So for us, our connection to these people is a lot deeper because we can associate times when we've heard that music or we experienced something or we felt something, and it's really carried us through. Whereas a lot more music now is just stuff that's to be churned out. Like it's just instantaneous stuff all the time. So you can literally now you can go to like New Music Thursdays or Fridays and you've got a whole pile of tracks, and forget just the people that are being pushed or pushing their own music. You've got loads of people trying to do a thing. So Now it's become this vast field, so there isn't like a lot of focus behind it. And what I mean to say about all that, just to bring it back into context, is I didn't know about this. I physically did not know that he was literally
suffering and shit, man.
Yeah,
niggas don't know that. Yeah, but and also for I was just saying is that I want to give my flowers to Black Rob too, because when I was coming up, I was young, and when I first started hitting the scene, that's when he had dropped Whoa, like when I first started writing and shit. And when I would tell people I rap, because my name is Rob, and people would be like, "Oh, is this Black Rob? You're Black Rob?" And I'm like, "Nah, that's not me, but I love Black Rob's music." You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like funny, and not that that's funny his passing, but it was funny how that impacted me because there's a lot of Robs in the community. It was Asian Rob, white Rob, and Mexican Rob, and I was Black Rob, literally in my hood or whatever. And and cats would be like, "Yo, you're Black Rob, man." I'm like, "Nah, that's not me, bro. That's not me." But Black Rob, Black Rob's contribution, to hip hop is a pivotal too, because even though he didn't have like all the accolades of like a DMX or even all the partners on his label, what I'm saying, Black Rob had a shot just like everybody else, man. It's just people's personal lives, can consume you if you're not focused, if you don't have a vision and a plan. And then I think a lot of people get lucky when they've set their minds on other ventures, what I'm saying? And they're like, okay, past music, what is this? And a lot of people come from the streets and that's all they know, and they enter music and then they exit the limelight. Then it's like, damn, what do I do? Like, then you go back, you revert back to your old shit. I'm not saying his health concerns or anything like that was a part of that, but I don't know Black Rob. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if his choices led to his health condition, or anything like that. But I'm just saying, outside of music, when people get out of the limelight, what is there to do? And that's the union part of it. That's the union part of it. You paid your dues.
Facts. So I'm just showing now. So obviously, shout out to Hip Hop DX as per usual. Always thanks for the info and just make sure you guys get your plug. So the article was posted on the 17th of April 2021, 1:59 p.m. by Carl Eustace. And what I find interesting here, and the reason why I bring that up, is because of this particular paragraph where he mentions. Because once again, I don't follow Black Rob, or even as was talking with Marv Radio, when with Instagram, it's just going to pump the stuff that they know is just going to hook you into looking at, rather than who's posted what and keeping things in the know. So literally, just in the case of the paragraph, he says basically in another Instagram video, Black Rob talked about what he was going through, explaining, "Oh man, I've been dealing with this for 5 years." He says, 4 strokes. I don't know what to tell you, man. Shit's crazy. This shit is hard. I don't got no house to live in except maybe an apartment. Me and my man been trying to get together. I'm telling you, man, this shit is strange. So yeah, like exactly like Mass just said, like how absolutely bananas is that? Like he was literally from performing at places like the Tunnel, having one of the most played hip hop tracks in clubs still to this day, and you're still out here you're basically out here suffering because, once again, as you were mentioning before, there isn't no education in the case of what artists need to do and how to protect yourself, how to look after yourself, what you need to do in the case of once you're in this position and what options are available to you, how to truly understand networking, and how to just in sense of just looking after your future and your well-being. Because the thing is that there's a lot of people, especially young artists, that get caught in this. You guys are getting money, but you're spending it on stuff that the rich wouldn't even spend it on. Like these are things
faster than you can get it. Yeah, they're spending it faster than they can acquire it. Yeah,
and that's also taps into the materialism aspect of everything like this. And then also coming from the areas that they do, a lot of the most popular artists are coming from areas where you can't afford to trust nobody. You might be able to have that affordability with your small clique of people around you, but then furthermore, if someone was to come to you and say to you like, well, look, boom, this is way things are going to go. This is the usual life expectancy of someone of, say, your caliber, for instance. Not saying you're bad, not saying you're great, but it's just there's only certain people that get that legendary status and hold it and then know what to do with it thereafter. But because they're so distrusting. They're just thinking, yeah, well, it's my life. I'm gonna live it how I've never had this before. I've used to see my favorite artist do this, or I've seen this person do that, and this is what that's what I want. But the funny thing is, which I'm tapping into my little usual rant a bit later, is where do our expectations for things lay into? Who is feeding our expectations? Because you got to think about the stuff that we like and we enjoy. It comes from so many different places. So without me going on too much just this early, but yeah, no, just was first of all, rest in music or rest in power, Black Rob, or as Bazooka, sorry, Joey Bazooka, shout out to you, Bazooka Jogotti. Yeah, rest in music, like for real, like it's heartbreaking. And once again, it's crushing because we've lost X. There was another passing with the Peaky Blinders, actress as well. So I guess on all spectrums of stuff, man, we really out here feeling it at the moment in this pinch.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot, bro. Like and it's crazy at the same time. And I'm seeing a lot of DMX memorials go up all around the world. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy. And I won't even front me personally. Like when I saw the whole Black Rob thing, I was like, damn. Like I didn't really want to investigate too much because I was like, yo, I'm still getting over DMX. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what's going on out here? You know what I'm saying? I was like, what's really going on? I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? And it's just bananas how, DMX didn't end up that way. You know what I mean? Like, going, struggling and everything like that. But Black Rob, on the other hand, like, yo, he has mad albums. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mad albums, like, and like, there's albums that people didn't really listen to per se. This is like after Bad Boy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, there's no way this man made the industry millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Millions of dollars, and you just end up like that. But and it's crazy. And this is not only in music, but you see a lot of people that look like us that were just scholars in just Black culture, period. And the way they end up, bro, you'd be like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Foul. Like, it's mega foul.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I feel like the industry just spits people out. It's like, it's kind of like, you just enter this shit and they use you up and spit you out, and thank God for the internet because, prior to internet, I hate to sound old, but, you had to rely on those companies to put you in that kind of position. You couldn't really build your own base. You couldn't build your own shit because those were the only avenues. And now you can actually, if your shit's hot and you get enough traction, you get enough shit behind you. I think, because think about it, at that time, who else was on Bad Boy? Like, is he really gonna like shine more than Big, or like, is he really gonna shine more than like all the roster was heavy.
Yeah, the roster was sick on Bad Boy back in them days. Absolutely crazy.
Roster was heavy, so it's like how much? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
I was just saying, and you know how labels do. They're gonna push the hottest artist first, and and whoever is like lower on the totem pole, they're gonna eventually drop it. That's why you hear cats get signed to labels and they're waiting. They're biding their time and shit like that. When their album's gonna drop and shit like that. Cause so and so dropped they shit, I gotta wait. Cause that's what the labels focus on right now. Like. Maybe in different circumstances we would have seen Black Rob climb to a higher level of respect amongst people because you just outshine, bro. This is literally outshine by all the other label mates and all the other stuff.
Facts, man.
Yeah, man.
Whoa was a whole something.
No, facts.
No, Whoa still goes off now. Even like Whoa's still one of my favorite tracks to get hyped to. Like real talk.
For real, that's a historical anthem right there. Like you play that, the people go bananas. You know what I mean?
Yes.
No matter where you're from. Well, no matter where you're from, when that beat comes on, people know. It's not a lot of anthems out there that you hear the first instrumental. You're like, all right, it's time. And yeah,
X had a lot of those anthems too.
Well, it's like funny enough that you mentioned that. If you think like for me, you know, I think to myself, if I'm going from that era, like the tracks that I can think of in like instantly that would go off, and you would, if you even you would just go off from the first kind of little note, was definitely Simon Says, definitely Rough Riders anthems, Anti-Up with obviously MOP, shout out to them. Oh yeah, and very much with and fifth one I'd say is California Love, like, and probably Juicy is definitely up there as well, but without straying too far away from it. But I think there was a point there wasn't even anybody who hadn't done a remix, or if you freestyle and you're into hip hop, you haven't tried to, you can't tell me you've never freestyled over that track before or tried to write a couple bars to any of those at all, which is insane. It's absolutely physically insane, but it's still heartbreaking. Because you really do, like Mas was saying, is because of the way that the label's set up, it's just a hustle, really, isn't it? This product is only doing so much for ourselves. This product is hot at the moment, so we're going to keep all of our eggs in that basket. But what needs to be established and set up is how do we then network and then start, if you want to put it in that sense, leasing artists to other people and other places in order to help the networks and such grow. Maybe it goes down to a bigger conversation of they don't want us to all get together and start bringing back hip hop. Could you imagine the hip hop conventions again, but doing it in the same way that they did it? Every major artist, male, female, and industry heads all get together and think about how do we make things better? How do we make things grow? I mean, the amount of beefs that got settled there and seckled just because they had a chance to meet the person and actually see what it's like beyond the artist is insane. But they don't want to do that now. And the problem is you've already got too many gung-ho. You've already filled a lot of new artists and artists that are coming up with that mentality of, no, we're going to take your life. Hence Pop Smoke. Hence all these young cats who are literally out there and they're spitting and doing what they're doing, but they literally have to look over their shoulders most times, because we know there's a lot of altercations and unknown stories within the world of hip hop. As even when I was talking with Fredro Star, and he said, like, yeah, even with the altercation between him and ODB, it's like, oh, we don't want to get into it too much. But then him breaking down how the worst came about, which is Wu-Tang featuring Onyx. And the fact that they said, like, they literally got all drawn into a room. Like he said, imagine a room and every member of Wu-Tang's there, every member of Onyx and every other clique member. I can't remember the guy who was looking after that time. Just picture a small room like that. Wu-Tang's already clicked up just from the main artist, forget their crew, and then Onyx and themselves and them Wild Boys, and they're literally being forced to sit down and settle this beef because it's just unnecessary. And then what came out of that was the worst, which is still one of my favorite tracks in hip hop of all time. You know, so it's hard to say without falling into this conspiracy line of thinking, but it really does seem like they really want us to be making the money, fighting amongst ourselves, and kept apart at the same time. And then when anyone wants to step forward and try to speak 2 bits of sense, oh, you want that conscious talk, you ain't from the streets, you don't know what my life is being like. Bruh, hip-hop came from the streets, and the first things that we did was break dance, bomb walls, and DJ spin, and then eventually MCing, and we have what we have today. Go back and listen to some records. I don't care how corny you might think it is, but you wouldn't even know how to do 2/2 of what you did without that becoming the actual case. Sorry, that bit.
No. I love the rant, brother. Facts. But I think it goes back to, as an artist or just individual, knowing your value, knowing your worth, not letting the market put value on it. And I think that's what happens. Prime example, one of the tragic things I think in hip hop is when Last Poet, Lightning Rod, passed away. Didn't hear about it. The way I heard about it was through Malachi.
I didn't know.
The world, in the world media. But if you think about Lightning Rod's impact to hip hop, go back to the Hustler Convention. The Hustler Convention album is the I can't think of that word, but it's like the golden relic of hip hop, because I can name 10 artists that sampled Hustler Convention on the top of my head, just like that. And
I think go ahead.
And not to even hear anything about him when he passed away was frustrating to me, because knowing his story and having a connection with people that knew him and how impactful he was to the culture. Like, there's a video of Melly Mel reciting Hustler Convention.
Huh.
I
Wow.
posted it on my IG. It's him, Melly Mel, is reciting the Hustler Convention. We watched that documentary. Remember Stats, the Hustler Convention, which was executive produced by Chuck D. It had KRS One in it. It had Ice-T in it, which, if you think are like the pillars when we talk about hip hop, those are the names we talk about as the OG, and they go back to the story of Latin Rod and how how Hustler Convention inspired them. And so again, it goes back to, as artists, knowing your value. Because again, like the one thing Ice-T said is that it's hard for an artist to just be a artist and be a business person. If you're going to be a business person, the music is going to kind of fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you're an artist, if you're fucking on artists, you're not going to make a lot of money, because again, you're substituting the business side just to make good music. It's rare you have artists that can do both, like Prince.
True.
Prince, prime example.
I was going to say this. I was just going to say that. But at the
same time, I'm going to be honest. Rest in peace, Prince. But he made some not good music too. I'm gonna be honest. There's some songs.
I'm happy you said it first, because I ain't looking to fight with the Prince fan base. I do not want that smoke in any way, shape, or form.
But this is this was high creativity. It's being transparent and open. But there was some songs that Prince. I'm like, Prince. But again,
his business ethic though. But his business ethic was what's crazy, because I was watching the DMX. The shout out to the Drink Champs podcast, because that's what I was just watching. They did like a 30-minute tribute video to DMX from the times that they interacted in a few stories and such. And his Prince story was, crazy, because it's like he broke down and said to DMX, like in a club for an hour, and saying to him, this is the power of owning your own masters. This is where you need to be. This is why you need to be in control of everything that you do. And the same way, like Nas was supposed to be working with Prince. Well, Nas went up to Prince and said, I really want to do it. We're not going to do it because you don't own your own masters. Can you imagine that? You're getting turned, Prince is saying to you, I don't care how much I like your music, I don't care how much great that you're doing. The harsh reality is because you don't own yourself and you don't own your own music, I refuse to work with anyone in that pretense. And I think that's a strong message that needs to be
sent out there. And that goes to the Union point.
So all of Prince's catalog, okay? Yeah.
That goes to the Union point, bro. And I think Prince was on that shit way before. I was gonna say he's the general behind that, because prior to him, I don't know anyone that was speaking that kind of rhetoric or even trying to why would he care to educate other people? Because he understands, like, we only have a certain amount of time here. And if this music is what we love and what we dedicated our lives to, it is an infinite thing, and it goes beyond us and our contributions. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, what he's putting into his efforts, what Prince made, is stuff that we're going to be inspired to, and set new levels and boundaries. But if you don't own your own shit, how am I going to break bread with you? You know what I'm saying? Because I got to break bread with you, your label, your manager, your lawyer, your fucking, your distribution, your fucking everybody. You know what I mean? And go ahead, yeah. Yeah, but that's a fact, bro.
It's crazy, man. I mean, I don't know. At the same time, though, like, I still see a lot of the younger generation, like, they're tackling business like crazy. You know what I mean? They're getting to the bag, like there's some of them are just fronting, like, you know what I mean? But when you have a mindset of, this, like Papoose to me is a real smart dude. You know what I mean? Like after a couple songs, he already knew, like, yo, man, I'm gonna just get into real estate right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just get into this right now. You know what I mean? And you know, some people are doing it. And I was reading some stuff about you know, Shaq is not even into music, but as far as an entrepreneur and thinking outside the box, that dude is bananas. You know what I'm saying? He's got like 500 restaurants or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Think about the comedy specials that he did as well.
Magic Johnson, fucking LeBron James. These are the these niggas
so,
got
They thinking different. You know what I mean? So even though as a total it's like less than 1%, you know what I'm saying? But some of us are still thinking on that realm because like we 400 years behind if you want to be serious. You know what I'm saying? And education is real different. So from whatever you're doing, if you're an artist, you know what I'm saying, if you're playing ball, if you anything on a professional status, you know what I'm saying? If you out there, you on a professional status, that shit ain't gonna last long. So you gotta really think out the box. You know what I'm saying? And really know that I gotta live. I need resources. You know what I mean? And even I was I won't say a victim of that, but even I was a student of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you got to learn every day. It's not a one day you can't learn something out here. So I was a student of that and had to learn from that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know. You know, so
well,
you know what I mean? It is what it is, man.
Yeah, this rule goes across all professional levels because of Black contributions to all industries. You know, is always the most gravitated to, the most influential, the most, the highest level of production. You know what I'm saying? Able to produce on the court, on the field, wherever we're at. You know what I'm saying? And the actual power of deciding how that money is dispersed rarely we find ourselves in positions to move that. And that even goes back further to like, you know, how Black culture and how we've been affected systematically hundreds of years ago. So all the people that were slave owners are bank owners. You know what I'm saying? All the bank owners are label owners, and they, you know what I'm saying, and TV broadcasting owners. You know what I mean? And that's the shit that we actually need control over to be able to make those kinds of moves. You know, and pull that. And only way that's going to happen is if our predecessors, like our legends, our heroes, you know, now that they've actually acquired that level of monetary success, have an opportunity to pass the torch. You know what I'm saying? In a sense where it's still business, not like no one's giving freebies, but you know, it's like we've built a foundation of, you know, well, if we understand our role in this community, a music community, and we take it seriously, and this is what we're doing for our legacy and y'all's legacy, because the music lives on, even when we die. And the culture lives on, even when we die. So I don't want y'all to have to go through this. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it's like music liberation or Black liberation in the sense of the industry. You know, so I big us Prince too, man. It's crazy as fuck.
And then also quick pick up to Micheal Jackson too, because even though he didn't talk about it, he said it in his music. And people forget that he bought the catalog of the Beatles, and people got mad when he did that.
I was gonna say no, so mad. So yeah, he did. He literally Michael was a beast like that. He would buy up everything and not for selfish gain or purpose at all. I think the Beatles might have been something a jab at someone or something personally, but
because didn't they have beef back in the days?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was something petty. That's the reason, and it's what you gotta love Michael. And some of the reasons that you know these people do their stuff.
That's a hard
literally, it is a hard. That's literally don't mess with me. You think you
don't remember the story?
No, but re-educate us, Stars.
When all right, this is what I remember from reading. So Mike, Mike was what's the dude from the Beatles name?
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney. All right, so he asked him, "Hey Paul, if you sold the Beatles one day, how much you sell it for?" And he was like, "I don't know. I forgot the price. I don't know if it was 18 million or something like that." And Mike was like, 18 million, okay. He went, called his people up, and bought it, came back, and was like, he was like, "Hey, Paul, you said you wanted to sell it for 18? I gave you 20. Paul was tight after that. You know what I'm saying? Yo, that's what I heard.
That's petty. That's petty as hell.
You know what I'm saying? How much you want to sell it for? He's like, I don't know, probably 18. He's like, all right. He came back. He's like, man, I'll give you 20, Paul. I'll give you 20.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what kind of shit is that?
Yo,
you know what I'm saying? I don't know how you got Eminem's catalog.
That's mega.
Michael Jackson.
But I know Sony was tight.
Yes, from your story, tight, bro, man. Michael Jackson just shark. That was a Shark Tank moment. Before Shark Tank.
Yeah, big fish. Like a
dude,
I don't even think that's Shark Tank.
Smart.
I don't even think that's Shark. I don't think that's even Shark Tank. That's just like a takeover. That's a corporate takeover, like beyond takeovers. My man literally absorbed your whole life's musical work. Yeah, just like I got it. Bye. And that's. But did you know the funny?
I don't want to say what I really want to say, but
go say it.
The industry was mad at that.
Oh yeah. Sony was
the industry was definitely the industry was jaded. Yeah, like but this thing is still the same. That's the reason. That's why when we're looking at the way that music is at the now, the labels are sweating because so many people are able to do it as a solo thing. So what they're now trying to do is find other ways to stop the people from growing, or only allow certain music to get played in certain avenues and channels. I mean, this is obviously a much deeper conversation, and we can obviously work on this for another episode. But literally, most artists are now encouraged, don't go sign to a label. Why? You know, when you're the one who's producing all of this stuff, you need to get your own. But then now they've left the labels, and people were stupid to think that, you know, a lot of the corporations and companies that interlink to networking do own the labels, but they own other stuff. So when now you're seeing people you're buying up all those merchandise, all of the stuff that they're selling to you, pushing out to yourself, which you're spending your money on so you can be fly, know that no matter what way you look at it, even if they might not be going through the label, they're making money off you guys, like for real. So that's why also another shout out to support Black businesses. And at this point, quick plug, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying the conversation so far, and support everybody here to Definite Mass, Mobile Tech One, That Is Not a Noun, and of course, highcreativity.net, and IAmHipHop, who we are powered by for this particular string of the podcast. But yeah, no, man, it's
real fast, just to give you a little nugget. Remember the interview we had with Shamari Smith when he talked about Social Mischief, and they signed that contract. At that time, they were the only rap group that signed the contract that had able to keep their own masters. So when they left record label, they left with their masters. And it's crazy when Shamari said, I think it was somebody from De La Soul or Tribe, and they're like, "You got your you were able to keep your masters?" Yeah, because they had good people around them.
That was sometimes unheard of back in the day.
It was unheard of. Verbatim. Ask anyone, like at any point of any given time, if they own their masters. Like that's literally the craziest thing that and that's why do you think after that labels never offered that on the table again? They were like, if Souls of Mischief were big with doing their thing, but imagine if you had DMX, imagine if you had Black, imagine you had like all the artists that we know and love, and they actually all owned their masters. They ain't running. Come on, son.
No. Look, hence the name, Master.
Hey man, real words, like that's the etymology of it. Masters, we own you, motherfucker. Like that's just scary, man. And it's another form of it's another form of oppression, in my opinion, because would you really be breaking bread with people outside your community like that if people just do it because they have to. Those are the people that are able to make those moves for them. So it's just really unfortunate. But we gotta keep that shit moving because, I mean, that's what we're here purpose to do and called to do. So we're gonna do it regardless.
Right.
You know, when you're coming up, everybody has this idea of like, I want to blow up. I want to blow the fuck up. and I want to be larger than life, you know, with this shit. And if you don't have that goal, that drive, you never get there. You know what I'm saying? And for longevity, it takes a relentless amount of perseverance. You know what I mean? Like to really do something for 15, 20 years. You know what I mean? And it's something to definitely like take seriously. I don't know, man. It's wild.
And stay consistent over that period of time.
Yeah, stay consistent. You know what I'm saying?
I look at the 90s. I mean, like, you know, when I was in the group, ICF, like, there was no, like, social media. There was none of that. So it was like, they had this thing back in the days where, you know, you could do shows in clubs, but you had to, like, gain your own people. So you had to have, like, a sort of following. So, like, it was a game where there's, like, you get a certain amount of people, they give you a certain amount of money. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the people had, like, drink tickets and all that. And then, you know, you had to really be on your grind. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to be in front of people. You had to, you know, be out every night. Like, we was performing a lot. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, that was the only way you got, like, you know, like,
access
like
to new people, new fans. Yeah.
It's the same here, though.
Like LA culture is the same. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same all across the board. You know what I mean? If you want to really, you know, try to get on, like the real way. You know what I mean? But, you know, I mean, it is what it is now. You know what I'm saying? Like now, it's you know, it's like so many different outlets where you can eat from. You know what I'm saying? And isn't there an artist platform? I forgot the platform. It's like you can just straight put out your own music, and you know, and it's like your own manager, your own promotion, your own everything. You know what I mean? So it's like you owning your master straight from the start. I forgot this platform, but
Breaker.
I think So
I've
I
never
think
heard of it. I need to look into that.
Yeah, so I think that a lot more of those platforms in the future are going to start coming around. You know what I mean? And you know, of course, they're going to try to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Just like they, you know, what's that? Remember Napster and all that shit?
No, do you know what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to happen? Is these platforms are going to absorb these record companies and these labels because it's going to be the smartest move for them. It's just going to be one of those rich people whose hands are going to be exchanging hands that we will never know about all of a sudden. Because even with Instagram recently, you can actually use small clips of music when you're posting up your story. That's something that they never had before. So already you can start to see slight bits of integration. So there will still be a necessity for distribution purposes for albums and things of that nature. But when you now look at Spotify was bust. They were always in the red. Then all of a sudden over the few years, they stayed steady. They don't pay artists jack diddly for pretty much what they're getting for the amount of plays that they get. But then furthermore, now Spotify is upgrading. Spotify is now a regular thing. And also make sure you check out the podcast on Spotify as well. We're just expressing or saying we hating. But at the same time, it's you can see where it's going to be leading to. And that's the way it's all going to work going forward. And if anyone else is like, oh yeah, there's always going to be a need for this. Yes, in a slight necessity, but not in the case of the majority, because once they can fully put every piece of music online and there's no need for us collectors, you might want to get the vinyl, maybe I'm not sure if anyone still gets CDs, but I know they still print them, or whatever way you want a physical copy of it, they will still need to be relevant in some way, shape or form. But everything else is going to be flowing on a completely digital scale, and that's where they want it, because then it would even be harder for a lot of artists to get the money that they need and then make more sacrifices in order to get that. Because now think about like digital coins. I know it's a bit of a weird throw into it, but now that's on the uprise. Ethereum, Bitcoin, there's a few other ones. Mobile, you put up a post recently, you put up recently with which coins are actually doing the best at this particular moment in time. So not saying that's going to be the case for the whole world, but in the case of this entertainment and the realm that we're in, that's us going forward. There's no way to physically escape that. It's all slowly being pushed towards that side of the market, which, you know, a lot of these young cats are starting to get used to and starting to know. So we're seeing a load of people throwing a bunch of money around. Ain't going to be the same anymore. You're just going to see digital coins dropping on the front of the screen instead. like some crazy, see like little Bitcoins and Ethereum just dropping out. Right. Yeah, making it rain. I'm making it rain.
You got Usher Bucks now.
How was that?
Usher Bucks and You got Usher. Usher got his own currency now. Jim Jones got his own currency now.
What?
You got coins with Jim Jones' face on it.
Also, I'm working on high coins as well. So I'm gonna be starting my own currency for high creativity when things
It's
crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
But that's also a good segue.
What can you do, man? What can you do? But
this is,
it's a lot of stuff to follow. When a lot of this, as far as the currency goes, and
true.
For me personally, I think everything is going to be digital. You know what I mean? Like this cash is going to be obsolete in a minute, man. That's
check in with your chip in your hand type shit. Your digital currency. Just upload your value and.
And we're going to touch on that on the next show. We're definitely going to talk about them chips and businesses.
Yo, that's crazy. Upload your value.
Hell yeah. That's real shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna load you up.
Since you've gone for a did you go? You went for 2. That we've detected that there's a less of consistency and a more of this, and this. Is that? Are you being for real? You reading off my analytics of my doo-doo? Like, come on now.
Think about this real quick.
Funny enough, it does lead into an interesting part.
Real quick. If you couldn't spend money, physical money, and all you had was digital currency, right? You can't make any purchases. You can't buy groceries. You can't make any purchases without digital currency, right? You would have to subscribe to the system. Yeah. So how that system is generated, you'd have to identify yourself. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to have some way to tie it to yourself as a true identity. Otherwise, someone could just steal it. So, if there's no money, people can't rob you. You can't, what I'm saying? There's nothing to take. You have to take someone's life or like something like that. But
no, I'm sure they'll take their chip.
Yeah, but if we got chips or whatever the fuck it is, you know what I'm saying? You just scan your little chip or whatever in your arm or whatever, and boom, you just walk out the store. Like, it's creepy as fuck, dude. Like, say if you don't want to subscribe to that, and you're like, nah, hell no, I ain't get no chip. How you gonna live?
Yeah.
How you gonna?
It's gonna go down. It's gonna go down that Black Mirror path where you're actually valued on your base in society. It will literally come to that point.
Yeah, that's some weird tunnel thinking, but I don't want. Sorry to deter y'all.
That's cool, man. It's fine. It's a conversation.
That's what it's all about. High creativity, man. It's just imagining what the future is gonna be like, and there's a good chance that's on that verge of going there, especially with digital coins, everything digital,
and virtual reality.
Virtual reality
too, because the kids is on VR headsets and. You can go into a world where
I don't know if that.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you ever saw this movie called Surrogate.
No.
With Bruce Willis.
No.
Yeah, it kind of touches on that whole virtual reality. You know what I'm saying? Where you can actually basically like sit at home and have like basically a clone of yourself outside doing everything you have to do.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that shit is it's bananas, bro.
It's bananas. It does sound cool though. I ain't gonna front. It is crazy though.
Like if I get shot, I get shot. It's not really me. So
yeah, exactly. See what I'm saying? The rules of the game have now changed, basically. Right? So, can you imagine that place? But then again, they've been telling us this in the movies. I mean, I came across, funny enough, because you actually had a good point, which was just touching on a sense of consistency and knowing yourself as well as artists. But I want to pick you up. I might as well go in here before carrying on, right? So we're talking about how crazy shit's getting, right? I'm definitely gonna need your opinion on this. This. Woo! When I came across this today, I had no idea. I had no physical idea. Give me a sec. Sorry, guys. There you all are. So read that. Human cells grown in monkey embryos spark ethical debate. So I found this out on the BBC. So shout out to Helen Briggs for basically broadcasting this. But hear this, right? The research by a US-Chinese team has sparked fresh debate about, into the ethics of such experiments. The scientists injected human stem cells that have the ability to develop into many different body tissues, into macaque embryos. The developing embryos were studied for up to 20 days. Other so-called mixed species embryos or chimeras have been produced in the past with human cells implanted into sheep and pig embryos. So this isn't the first time. The scientists were led by Professor Juan Carlos Espinosa Belmonte of the that's about as long as my name, of the Salk Institute in the US, who in 2017 helped make the first human pig hybrid.
Word. So that does exist. Man, bear, pig exists. That was from South Park. So that was real.
Yeah, man, so you gotta give it to South Park. You gotta give it to South Park. They definitely know about what they're doing. I have to give them their whole boat. But yeah, so we want to talk about Future. Like, and when I was watching the new segment on YouTube, the woman who was part of the body was saying, it's like, oh, well, you know, we only study out for 90 to 20 days because otherwise it starts to breach, you know, ethical laws. And we're just analyzing these things at the moment. And even if we're just interested to see what kind of will happen and what will kind of work going forward. I'm not going to give the full breakdown. I know it wasn't that, but go check it out, man. That's real. That's real. That's happening.
No.
And also bear in mind, all the people between China and the US, somehow together they working on stuff like this. I am just saying.
Well,
they got the bread.
Yeah, that's to me, that's been going on for a long time. It's been going on a smaller scale, and we call it GMO. You know what I mean? We're eating animals that are basically human made. Two things are put together, and you get this. It's in our fruits. It's in everything. You got
Popeye chicken sandwiches and everything.
That's why they're so tasty.
Everything. Like you got like you have like, just for instance, like you can go to the supermarket now and you can see grapes that you never heard of, like cotton candy grapes. What is that? Somebody made it. Then you got certain fruits that you never heard of. These are things that they've been playing with mutation a long time. You know what I mean? And this is what it is. Now, my thing is, I would never play with the ethical side of like trying to fuse any animal and any man together. I don't know why would you ever do that. You know what I'm saying? But this is what people are doing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. I can't imagine, you know, to see a pig man walking around. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you see some things sometimes, and you wonder what is that fused with? You know what I'm saying? Like, literally.
That being said, though, now thinking about it, because right now in the anime community, which I won't say anime because that's a bit unfortunate to say, but within that kind of community of stuff, like there's a big thing about cat girls and dog boys, and there's an actual whole furry thing that's devoted. There's actual Reddits that are dedicated literally to hentai level stuff with half cats, half human, half dog, half whatever, half drag. There's even ones with dragons. Like, so I don't. Yeah, it's a mazza. I don't know what else to say to that.
No, it's just crazy because as human beings, what do we define as ethical? Because we define that term ethical.
Do you think they care though? They're still doing it.
No, they don't care. I think it's just a way to just create more products, to make more money, to put stuff in the food we eat, to put in the food for animals that's going to be unhealthy. And at the end of the day, it's not to keep the longevity of life. It's just
killing people off, nigga. You know, killing people off, mass killing. Like certain people have certain body chemistries that can't handle those types of, chemical, and it's like you get all kind of health problems and all these new diseases start forming because of what they're putting in the foods and stuff like that. And nobody knows how to cure it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of that shit, I mean, you can't help but assume that it's premeditated. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, very unfortunate.
It's like fruit now that doesn't have seeds, because now touching on what Stats was saying as well, it's like, because my boy, shout out to DJ Shane B, and he basically he doesn't buy fruits or vegetables that don't have seeds in it, because if it makes sense, because I remember as a kid I have an orange, even a small clementine or clementine, however you want to pronounce it, and you got this little thing, but it's chock full of seeds, like literally littered with seeds, which you could then go, and if you're in the right environment, you could grow yourself an orange tree. Apples I think are probably the only ones that still do. Probably they're going to stop that as well. But seedless grapes, for instance, I remember chewing into, like as a kid, grapes, which is also the fun part of the process of it. You spit out the grapes as you have them. You used to hate when you used to bite into one. You're like, I got the seed, but it's like almost like it's another additional fun part of the fruit. And don't realize watermelon, all miss it shit. Until it's now truly gone.
Yeah,
man, it's absolutely bananas. Which
also, I think it's a way where we're not depending on farm, so everything is chemical made. It gets to a point where what's the point of having getting produce from farms?
Man,
we're going to need that. We're going to need that because of the amount of food waste. That first of all, so why are you making a whole bunch of food and we're not even consuming what we have? First of all, that's crazy. That's beyond my kind of understanding, or beyond my pay grade. But then furthermore, now you want to then create artificial based food, which the earth itself can't naturally absorb. If it's doing that to our bodies, imagine what it's doing to the planet itself, because that's the cycle of life. If you don't eat the apples that come off the tree, it does its thing and turns into a natural fertilizer, and the rest of nature eats it, and the cycle continues. What happens when nature can no longer consume the things that we are producing? And we wonder why bees are all gone missing.
Facts.
Yeah, bro, man, it's crazy out here, man. Like, there's another documentary called Seaspiracy too that's very interesting about the ocean, the fish, and everything. You know what I mean? Like, everything is getting affected. And people don't really pay attention to it because we're so consumed in everything else. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of stuff is going on that like right now in New York, like gardens are on rooftops. Like, you can go on a skyscraper right now and there's gardens up there growing all type of shit. I'm like, yo, what? Like, you serious? Like, so this is what gardening is coming to now. Not in the country, but like on the top of your building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
but
saying?
you guys got to make do though. But you guys have to make do.
Yeah. It's you can go. You can't really. To me, if I had a full garden, you know what I'm saying? I think that after a while they will try to stop it. People don't want you growing your own fruits and taking care of yourself no more. Like, you're supposed to go out and buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to go out and mash. Like, you in Vegas, so you got that good weather out there. You know what I mean? Like, people could grow all type of shit. You know what I mean? Out here, we got like a couple months of summer. You know what I'm saying?
This shit is so brutal out here, bro. This shit is fry anything alive, nigga. Like, it's like 110, nigga. Like, the ground is so dry, nigga. Like, I'm telling you straight up, I went out to it's a lake out here, man. It's a barren lake. Like, imagine a desert, right? A desert. There's nothing there, no plant, no vegetation, nothing, right? It rained for like 3 days, and I went back and got to see this place, and all kind of shit grew. I was like, where the fuck did this come from? This shit, like, it was just in the desert, bro. We was just in the desert. And I'm thinking, like, there was nothing here. So the shit's there. It's just in the earth, and it needs the right kind of, it needs the water, but it don't rain enough out here to really grow shit. And like, it's the soil's been scorched hot so long. It's not a good thing to grow shit out here.
Yeah, there's work that will need to be done. There is nothing. Give me some of that peyote, man. I want that peyote. I want that peyote. Going on the dirties, man. But
I'm not lying to you though. These things grew like, I swear to God, they're at least 5 feet tall in a matter of 3 days, dog. Like, I've never seen any plant grow that fucking fast. I'm not lying to you, bro. In 3 days, nigga, like 5 feet tall. Imagine if it had like, you know, like a smooth
consistent watering. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everything is there. That's the beauty of it. It's like, it's just, once again, it's the care. But let's be honest, you're in Vegas. All people really want to go to is go to Vegas. You know, no one really want to look outside of Vegas and what can be kind of done in that whole context of things. But man, it's just insane watching the world like this. And I think being born in 85, you really get to see two real sides of transitions, you know, because this is where we're going and the things that are happening. And as much as we're talking out and people are fighting against this stuff, I'm more worried in the sense of what is actually happening, because it literally truly feels that even if you don't want to dip into the conspiracy kind of level of stuff, they've got a plan and they don't care. And that's just the simplest way for it. They want to see how things work, in case with the human cells grown in put into monkey embryos. Then we go, oh well, let's see if we can make our own food from a petri dish, which I'd kind of understand if they were looking to venture into space, like properly venture into space, because then it would make a bit more sense. How are we going to grow anything? But then I think also, like you're saying, maybe we're their guinea pigs and they're testing for it. Or here, let's see how this really reacts and what it is, and boom, 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 boom. Which we're going, yeah, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have some crazy conversations and segments going forward in the future. We've got so much stuff to really do. We need to actually specifically deep some of these subjects, but this is obviously supposed to be our remembrance for the loss of DMX, also for Black Rob, and to all the other greats that we've lost, and to everyone, and also crucially to everybody else that we've lost during this crazy pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Yo, seriously, to everyone, like, truly mean this, like, hearts, I don't really pray, but you can have spirit, essence, soul of wherever it is going out to all of you lot. Hopefully we'll be able to see the end soon. Praying we'll get to see the end, but then, yeah, let's just work through this the best way that we all can, and support everybody the best way that we all can, because a lot of us are all out here suffering in very many different ways. Yeah. So just remember that, guys. And it also helps if you like, comment, and subscribe after that lovely message. Just saying. But in the case of my I'm going to keep the rant kind of small, because we've obviously dug into quite a lot already today. But it does touch onto some of the subjects, and I think it's just more into this, especially when I was talking about the artists earlier and knowing your value and your worth. But then it's also, you know, as Def said, you know, I want to blow. You know, we have all of these expectations, and this is my rant is to myself. So understand, this is the crazy thing today. It's more of a rant about myself, but I was thinking about this over the last few days. And I asked myself sometimes, especially since that episode happened to me last year, almost dying, if watch previous episodes, find out more. But ever since that, I've been kind of shaken and not the same. And it's kind of made me think, because I'm still pushing, I'm doing, you know, high websites up, business is all officially running, it's all going. I'm still pumping out art. You know, we're doing this, if I repeat myself, DJing, being booked for 2 gigs. Shout out to Crisis Micheal for letting me be your DJ at your O2 Islington, O2 Academy Islington, and also then Metro Fest, which is going to be in August as well. But still in the mix of all these things that all of these things that I enjoy and I'm doing, I found myself asking the serious question, where does this all come from? Where does this passion come from? And why do I feel driven to still push through and do these things? And I'm already a deep set thinker, as I'm sure most people will gather for now. So when I sit behind, when you're having a little relaxation time and you're literally living in your head and having those conversations, I start to pull away from the case of, oh yeah, well, I like this because I could see that, you know, people that, you know, family might have liked it and I got along with them, so I naturally would enjoy it. But then on the flip side of that, there's some things that I naturally don't enjoy. But that also then I started to find leaks into the way that I look at life, and even looking at someone. When someone says, you know, see the beauty about that person. So whenever I talk to you guys as you. Like literally, yes, we've all got faces, we've all got shells, but it's you who I am specifically talking with. However, when it comes to, if you don't know the person, you're judging them by the way that they look. But whose judgment are you basing that off? Is it because it's a consistent standard and that's what people have said? Is it because of your friends and your peers who have said, oh no, she's butters? But you might find there's something about her that you really like, and that's who you want to gel with. But then you then find yourself constrained within this battle of trying to appease to others, and also trying to appease to yourself, and also how you actually perceive. And this got me really, really deeply thinking on the level of, well, it's funny that currently in this new spiritual message of things, they're saying you need to sit with yourself, find yourself and be one with yourself. And what happens though, I mean, it's more on a question, but what happens when you find and you sit in with yourself and you realize that you're just a reactive being without even intensively knowing about it? You're reacting to the environment that's around you, finding out the things that you enjoy and the things that you want to do, and you go in and you invest your time and effort into those things. But because we find ourselves wanting to not be left out or not be, how can we say, not be part of the village is the best way to put it, is we find ourselves, and even myself in some cases, following trends, doing this because other people are doing it. And it's safer to do that because it means there's less chance for you to recline yourself and realize that you're still that little child. You know, at that point where you go and beyond the first few years of growing up as a kid, but you know, when you start to really realize things and what your little impacts and things actually start doing and how that works with different social groups and how you find your footing. And it's kind of refreshing and beautiful at the same time. And it's just about remembering that you are always going to be that inner child looking out into the world and trying things that you feel that you can enjoy. And I think the next step and next level up is doing it because you want to do it. And it's definitely great to have people around you encouraging you. Like I'm fortunate enough to have you guys in my life, which we've all linked and met through, you know, the Chronicles of a Hip Hop Legend to be here. But then we've all met loads of other people and bunches of other people who've told us to consistently invest in ourselves and just find your path. So the Rant's basic thing is don't beat yourself up. Just enjoy the fact that you don't know, you're trying to know, you want to get to know. And even if you don't, and you're just happy to say, well, now I know that, I just want to be in life and enjoy, then know you're entitled to that. That's it. Just know it isn't a prerequisite for you to get up, do a 9 to 5. It isn't a prerequisite for you to be not necessarily nice, because showing kindness is a completely different thing. But if you're being disrespected, you have every right to stand up for who you are and where your principles stand. But don't follow these trends. Just try your best. I know it's easy to, because it makes you feel comfortable, but the uncomfortableness is actually sitting within yourself and actually really figuring out you are your own person. So that's just me on that basis, and that is to myself as well. I'm just it's a two-way thing. Okay, it's one of the deepest spiritual connection things. But that's my rant for today, basically.
Word.
Nah, thank you for that, bro. I appreciate that. That's the one thing is I recommend you guys listen to the song that I listen to all the time. It's from I don't know if you ever heard of the rapper ID. ID and DJ.
No ID or just ID? Is it no ID or ID? Okay.
ID and DJ Ability. Actually ID is a song called I'm Here For You. And it's a deep song. And the one thing I get from it is never separate yourself from the universe, because you play an integral role in that universe. You may not feel like you are, but you are. Whether if it's just one person that connects to you or a million people connect to you, you're constantly connected to a person. So never feel isolated. You know, come to the realization that you have purpose. Whatever you do, you have purpose. Whether it's a podcast, is it doing music, is it art? There's always going to be someone that's going to be connected to you. And again, don't ever separate yourself from the universe. And that's the one thing I'm constantly learning and trying to evolve as a person. Because, you know, we've had talks in the past, you know, I do suffer from depression. Coming up is the 2-year anniversary of me almost committing suicide. And so it's important to come to that realization that, you know what, sometimes being human beings, we're going to have those days when we like, I don't know. And you try to compare what you're doing with other people. In a way it's good, in a way it's not bad. But again, it goes back to, again, you have purpose, you have meaning, you have value. If you have those basic fundamentals in your life, whatever you have, those thoughts, they're going to go away, because again, you have those basic principles.
Right. Very well put. Wise words, man. For real.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you know, I'm listening to both you guys, and the thing that I think a lot of people don't really connect on is counting their blessings. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of there's a lot of things going on out here, and we all sitting here right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's a blessing in itself. You know what I'm saying? We all on different time zones. We all got up today. We all sitting here chilling, having beautiful conversation. That's the blessing in itself. All alone. And for me, and the issue talked about grounding. That's real important for me to stay grounded. You know what I mean? Whatever I'm doing. You know what I mean? And to the point where I take my shoes off and I walk in the dirt just to ground myself, just to release all the, and that's actually a literal fact that people should do. Take time, walk in the dirt with your shoes off, connect with the earth. You know what I'm saying? Connect with the earth. You know what I'm saying? And, that alone will recharge you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's a lot to that, and I'm glad that you touched on that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing that a lot of people forget. Man, you count your blessings. You go out here with nothing at all and touch the earth, and your whole life can change. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, count what you have. You know what I'm saying? We sitting here right now talking on all different types of devices. We're blessed to even do that. You know what I'm saying? We got some people over here that I was just talking, reading a book called The Billionaire Secrets, and it was talking about this billionaire company that started in India. And this guy started out with nothing at all. So even his business calls, he couldn't even have a phone to call out. He had to call them once a week from the library. Because no computers, no nothing. He had to go online. This is when AOL was making all that crazy noise.
Yeah,
So it's like perception is everything, man. And definitely said something earlier too about making nothing into something, just working with nothing and being able to make something happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing, man. And, the mind is powerful, man. So, we all sitting here today with some powerful mindsets, and, that's that high creativity right there, So, count your blessings, man. And keep moving, keep driving through it all, That's all I got to say. I'm going to spark this joint.
Before you go, bro, I want to just read a verse. This is one of the most potent verse on that song. That track I hear for you. I'll go. All right. Each person in an intricate piece of infinity. I feel that if you could see what I see, then we as a humanity can be free.
Yeah. Funny enough, I was just talking with my friend Hodge before the podcast, because she's trust me when I tell you she's been put through the mill, but love and support her all the way through and through. And it's like she kind of nudged and reminded me on that basis as well. Because she actually said, well, could you imagine a world full of yous? I mean, for me personally, I'm not saying me exactly, but in my mindset, yeah, I don't think the world will be as bad, but yeah, I think, but it's still a good. That's me being a bit slight boast. I'm just like, because if you're able to think in that kind of that region and that space of the way things are, then I think it would be just interesting. But all jokes aside, it really is. We're all unique. We all have our own. We have our own places. And the same way that cells, or the things that we call cells, is the smallest things that we know of at the moment. They come together, they combine, they collide, they fight, they fuss, they die, they live. And all of that same thing that works on a microscopic layer works all the way up to us, right? So when you really want to look at the case of as above, so below, we're all part of something that's grander. Without being too hippie, too spiritual, if people feel like, oh, here we go again, this all where, but that's not going to pay my bills, that's not going to do whatnot. But hey, that's the beginning of change. Ask yourself, why is it that we are allowing these people to feed what we do on a day-to-day basis? So if anything, yeah, man, we're pushing towards that. I mean, look at it all here. That is not a noun. Literally out there promoting a good word about, like that strong male father role model and figures. Always great content put up on his IG and great interviews as well. You've got to see stats that's out here, part of this whole group. And then also with his Mobile Tech One, actually going out there and helping people install their technology and get used to technology and keeping them up to date and keeping them in the circle and the know. Then you've got Def, who produces the music, and then also then doing all that great work with the children as well. And we look at it as a grand scheme of things. It's all these little parts that put together this big clock or working system. And I think just remembering that is the key takeaway to everything, and taking away from, yeah, we need to blow. No, trust me, I'm one of those people. We need this to blow, but we forget what work goes on in the background in order for these people to get where they are. There are a few pop a pill successes, but really, if we're looking at longevity and concrete stuff, and also something to show people as well going forward, you know, like this is what we did. This is our blueprint. How can we make it work for you? And then you'll tell us, no, that doesn't work too well now, because have you ever looked at this? Okay, cool. Schools me. How can I do this in order to do this, this, and this? And can you help? Or do you know anyone who can help? Let's all get bread together, not separate, because when it really comes to the crux of everything, you don't want to be rich and alone, if that's your dream.
Yeah. I'm trying to retire on an island, nigga. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck all y'all
I'm gonna retire on an island, but it's gonna be either Trinidad or Grenada. It's either gonna be Trinidad or Grenada, so I'm gonna be surrounded by people anyway. And Connor. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for tuning in to another episode. Sorry.
Let's let Def get the last word, man. We want to hear from you, brother.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I want to give a plug to my man Darvin Richard. You know what I'm saying? Illegal. He's my producer. We got a crew called Ski Mask. It's a production MC duo. You know what I'm saying? We got singles. We got singles out. You know what I mean? It's a joint called "It's Over." We got a music video too. I'm gonna email y'all the new joints if you haven't got them already. But anybody could check them out on Spotify. Just check out Ski Mask, SKIMASS, and you can hear all the new joints. It's not under Definite Mass. I do have my shit up on all those platforms too. I got new stuff up there. Y'all can check it out. But to chime in with what y'all talking about, man, is you're right, man. Like, to wake up every day. I had the opportunity to work with some troubled youth, you know, that got like, it's like mental issues, you know what I'm saying? And everybody has their own mental issues, but, people that don't want to live every day, you know what I'm saying? People that like wake up and they don't want to live the day, like that must feel fucking terrible, you know what I mean? And that's the poison that you subscribe to when you absorb everything from the outside and not thinking about what is coming from within. And I think being what you guys along with what y'all saying about being grounded is understanding your ties to everything else except for yourself. Because when you start thinking about solely yourself, you'll feel like you don't want to live every day, because there's a constant comparison amongst where you think you should be, or how you think you should be, and how things didn't pan out, or what things in the future might be fucked up, and not living in the present, not being in the today. And all of our legends some of our legends passing, helps you to come to grips like, yo, shit is not promised, yo. Shit is not promised, man. Like, today could be my last day. This could be the last record I drop. This could be the last interview I do. This could be the, that's how it is. And if we look at it with a little bit more appreciation, each day has more potency and opportunity for growth. You know what I mean?
Well said. Well said. Yo, that's heavy dope stuff right there, man. For real. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into another episode of the High Creativity Podcast. We got a whole melee of stuff coming to you in the future, but make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It helps us, keeps us going, but we're still going to do it anyways. We know this is a slow burn, but thank you for joining us from now. And if you're going to catch up later, hi and welcome. Glad to have you as part of the family. But definitely shout out to, make sure you, as per usual, plug Ish, that is not a noun. Go check him out. Socials, Facebook, C-Stats, go check him out. Mobile Tech One, if you're on that side of the pond. Definitely highly recommend his services. And also make sure you check out Ski Mask, Definite Mask, Spotify, all links. We're going to link everybody down below as well. So go find them. For real, go find them. Well, thanks again. All right.
To your house. Go find them, or we're gonna come to your
house. What is this about you going to people's houses for, man?
We're gonna
find you. We're gonna find you. We're gonna pull up.
If you don't follow this brother on IG or download his music or buy his music, I'm gonna go straight Tebow at your house. I'm coming.
My man legitimately just said, I'm going to go straight Debo to your house. I'm letting everybody know that he's going Debo to your house. for me personally, I just appreciate it because it's some great music. And what more can you ask for to add to your catalog, you know? And yes, I will be in tow. I will be in tow coming to your house. Because I'm just nosy like that. I just want to see where things are. You know, how did he set up? That's a really interesting thing you did with that couch and that stuff. Not trying to be, but I just, that's some good feng shui up in here. I feel it. I feel it.
That type of dude that will just post stuff on IG and act like that's his shit.
No. Because now you got me out here trying to question my whole catalog of how everything I've done is mine. Instagram, everybody. So don't listen to this crazy person. Go get my shit banned off the internet. And then what's the point? I swear to God. I swear to God. This man, I swear. But anyways, it's always a pleasure, gents. And it's great to have you as part of Now Officially again. Death Mass. Everyone's stats. Mass. We're all going to be back. So peace.
Back.